Oh, you're here. Good. I was hoping for company. You see, I've got stories, dark ones, chilling ones, the kind that keep you up at night. Mythical creatures, curses, horrors you can't escape. Shall we begin? Don't worry, I won't bite. Much.
3 months before our wedding, my fiancée Jin and I started decorating our future home. The apartment was bought on a mortgage, and money was tight. So we hunted for second-hand furniture online and occasionally visited local flea markets. Jin said she didn't like the cookie-cutter modern style. What she really wanted was something vintage, with character and age. It was a Saturday when we decided to check out a second-hand market a friend had recommended. But halfway there, the GPS cut out. I had to rely on instinct, blindly navigating through a small suburban town. The car wound through narrow roads until we stumbled into an alleyway, and at the end of that alley stood a used furniture store. The shop looked like something out of a period drama. I remember wondering how it even stayed in business, hidden in such a weird, remote place. The alley was flanked by old buildings, and tangled electrical wires crisscrossed above, like spider webs. Jin was immediately intrigued. She hopped out of the car and rushed inside without a second thought. The store was small, but absurdly packed. Sofas, wood carvings, record players, porcelain dolls, piled everywhere like a hoarder's attic. It felt more like a forgotten curio shop than a proper store. Then I heard Jin call me from the back. "This wardrobe is beautiful," she whispered. I turned to see her standing in front of a large old wardrobe in the corner. It was tall, nearly 2 meters, and stained a dark wine red. Intricate carvings curled across its surface. Twisting vines wrapped around the shape of a face. Yes, a face. Not realistic, but abstract. Blurred, almost weeping, yet smiling at the same time. I felt a sudden chill down my spine. "This thing gives me bad vibes," I muttered. "I like it," she said without hesitation, as she pulled open the doors. Creak. The sound was sharp, like old bones dislocating. The wardrobe was empty inside, but there was a strange scent, a faint sweetness mixed with something metallic, like blood laced with perfume. Jin stared into the empty space for a while, then murmured, "This smell, it's so familiar." I was about to stop her from buying it, but then a voice interrupted us. "Fate has brought you here." It was the shopkeeper, a shriveled old woman, thin as a dead branch, who had appeared behind us without a sound. "Is this wardrobe valuable?" I asked. "It is," she replied, "but others can't smell the scent it carries. You two can. I'll give it to you cheap. 300. If you can move it, it's yours." 300? For a solid wood, hand-carved antique like this? Practically a giveaway. I was creeped out, but Jin looked thrilled. "This one," she said softly, "it looks like the one my grandmother had." Her voice trembled slightly, filled with a strange tenderness. But I remembered her telling me she'd never even met her grandmother. By the time we got the wardrobe home, it was nearly dark. The thing was insanely heavy. It took 4 movers to get it inside. Our new apartment was still half renovated, the living room cluttered with boxes. We placed the wardrobe temporarily in the corner of the master bedroom. As soon as it was set down, Jin stood in front of it with this odd expression, like she'd just completed some sort of ritual. "Why do you like this thing so much?" I asked. She paused. "We used to have one like it when I was little, but it got lost. This one feels the same. But I thought you said you grew up in a high-rise and never used antique furniture. She went quiet for a moment, then smiled and said nothing more. That night, after my shower, I saw her still sitting in front of the wardrobe. She was running her fingers gently over the carved face, her eyes locked onto it. When I approached, she flinched and turned around suddenly, flashing an awkward smile. "Don't you think this carving looks like me?" she asked. I frowned. "Not really." She nodded seriously. "When I lose a bit more weight, it'll look even more like me." I didn't reply, but something about her expression felt off, distant. That night, I couldn't sleep well. I kept hearing soft creaking on the wooden floor, like someone walking around. I opened my eyes a few times and saw the wardrobe door slightly ajar, like something had just stepped out of it. I got up to close it. The handle felt damp. Inside, hanging on the rail, was a piece of clothing. A deep red garment, the color of dried blood. No brand, no stitching, no buttons. "Did you hang this here?" I asked, holding it up. Jin sat up in bed, half asleep. "That's not mine," she mumbled. The material felt weird. It looked like leather, but was softer than any leather jacket I'd ever touched. Unnaturally soft. It made my skin crawl. I decided to toss it out in the morning. Jin said nothing else. She just rolled over and went back to sleep, like nothing had happened. But that night, I had a dream. In it, I stood before the wardrobe. I opened the door. Inside were dozens of human skins, hanging like coats. Each one had a face, eyes open, staring at me. Their lips moved, whispering something I couldn't hear. The next morning, the red garment was gone. I asked Jin about it. She said she'd thrown it out. In the following days, as I was tormented by recurring nightmares, Jin's behavior began to change in increasingly unsettling ways. She started applying body lotion constantly, not merely to keep her skin soft, but almost as if she were preparing it. I caught her meticulously smoothing out her arms, neck, even her face in front of the mirror, as if checking that everything was perfectly flawless. "Are you feeling all right?" I couldn't help but ask. She gave me a gentle smile. "I'm fine. I just want to take extra good care of my skin before the wedding." Curiosity gnawed at me, so I began to investigate the origins of that strange antique store. Scrolling through an online forum, I came across a post that read, "My brother bought an old wardrobe from a secondhand store. Within a week of moving it in, his girlfriend's personality changed drastically. Even her voice changed. After he reported it to the police, she mysteriously vanished. The wardrobe later cracked open on its own, oozing a brownish liquid, and even the mattress was confiscated along with it. I immediately sent a private message to the poster and soon received a reply that simply stated, "Check the 1998 missing person case of Lin Qing in Fuyang District." I spent the whole night searching and finally found an old newspaper scan from that year. The report said, "A woman named Lin Qing disappeared without a trace in Fuyang District. The last sighting was on her home's balcony while she was sunning her bedding. Police found no signs of struggle. The only clue was a patch of dark red liquid in the master bedroom corner of her home. Family members mentioned that Lin Qing had recently purchased a large second-hand wardrobe. Reading those words sent shivers down my spine. Lin Qing. Was there some connection between Lin Qing and Jin? My mind spun with questions. Returning home while Jin was showering, I cautiously pulled the wardrobe slightly away from the wall and shone my flashlight into the recess behind its back panel. There, I noticed a narrow gap sealed with nails and etched with fine scratches. Using a screwdriver, I carefully pried it open, and out fell a yellowed scrap of cloth. On it were 2 lines of writing, as if scratched in with fingernails. "New shell unfit, must search anew." My hand trembled as I stared at the words. Deeper inside the wardrobe, a dark, gaping hole, black as a bottomless pit, revealed only a few stray hairs, a clump of reddish-brown blood, and half a shattered human ear. I was almost certain now that a dead body lay hidden inside. Mustering my courage, I forcefully pried open another panel. In that instant, my vision blurred as I realized I was staring at a desiccated corpse, stripped of all skin. I screamed and fell to the floor. For several minutes, I was numb, and when I finally came to, I tried to flee, but the door slammed shut. Jin emerged from the bathroom wearing a red dress, her hair still dripping. When she saw the dust and blood smeared on my hands, her expression gradually changed into something cold. She tilted her head and softly asked, "So you saw it?" My heart pounded in terror. I was almost speechless. She slowly moved closer and, word by word, said, "I thought I could keep this hidden for a little longer." Desperation took over. I shouted, "Jin, we need to call the police. What's happening to you?" Without a word, Jin sat down on the bed, her back turned to me, methodically combing her hair as if she were a silent, lifeless doll. After a while, her voice changed, taking on a robotic quality as she said, "You don't understand how hard it is to find the perfect body. What are you afraid of? I'm still your Jin." And then, as she spoke, black smoke began to seep from her mouth. In an instant, I lost consciousness. I truly believed that was the end for me. I woke up the next morning to find the apartment empty. I was alone. When I tried to open the door, I discovered it was locked from the inside, and my key had vanished. Worse yet, my phone wouldn't power up. It had died mysteriously, sometime during the night. Desperate, I attempted to pry open a window. No matter how hard I struggled, the windows seemed inexplicably sealed shut. With no other option, I grabbed a chair and hurled it at the window. The glass, as if bewitched, was extraordinarily resilient. Finally, summoning all my strength and body weight, I smashed through it. The force sent me tumbling out. Our building was on the 10th floor. By some miracle, I survived. I first crashed onto an air conditioning unit before landing heavily in the community garden below. Neighbors rushed over, and I knew I was being rescued. My head throbbed, and everything went black as I lost consciousness again. When I eventually came to in the hospital, the police were already questioning me. I recounted everything exactly as it had happened. They promised to investigate immediately, but when the officers returned to my apartment, it was completely empty. No wardrobe, no trace of Jin. There wasn't a single sign left behind. The police checked all the records. "This property is yours. It's been in your name for 6 months. The mortgage is under your name, and the surveillance footage shows you living alone. So, who is this Jin?" they said. I insisted, showing them Jin's ID and her social media profiles. Yet, all the records came up blank. I had been dating a woman for over a year, and she didn't exist in any official record. The police even ordered a psychiatric evaluation, diagnosing me with dissociative identity disorder, implying I had multiple personalities. I refused to believe it. Everything I experienced was real. For the next 3 months, the police arranged for medical treatment. The doctors eventually concluded that nothing was wrong with me, and the matter was dropped. During that time, I ended up selling the apartment and moving to a new home. But it seemed the nightmare was far from over. One day at my new place, I received a package with no return address. Inside was an oil painting, a portrait that bore a striking resemblance to Jin. Or perhaps not. The subject in the painting was dressed in clothing from over 20 years ago, and the signature at the bottom read Lin Qing. I knew I wasn't mad. Everything that had happened was real. Lin Qing, the corpse hidden in the wardrobe, had been searching for the perfect body all along. I still couldn't understand what mysterious fate or twisted coincidence had drawn her to Jin, but one thing was clear. She had claimed Jin for her own.